This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor. The moon is a very dusty place, and unlike that dust that you may have on bookshelves and tables and things at your home, moon dust is a little more hazardous. It's very abrasive and clings to everything. It can even damage equipment, including spacesuits, and cause respiratory difficulties for astronauts. In fact, during the Apollo 17 mission, astronaut Harrison Schmitt called his reaction to breathing in the moon dust as lunar hay fever. It consisted of sneezing, watery eyes, and a sore throat. The symptoms went away, but the concern for human health is a driving force behind NASA's extensive research into all forms of lunar soil and how to manage the dust. Maureen Hunsberger of Elements talks about the dangers of moon dust.
See, when the first people set foot on that small satellite body, they came back into the lunar module covered in dust. And it's posed a problem ever since. Some astronauts have even had a reaction to it. In 1972, Apollo 17's Harrison Jack Schmitt experienced a momentary sneezing fit, red eyes, itchy throat, clogged sinuses, the whole shebang in response to moon dust. But it can also be quite a bit more serious than a touch of temporary hay fever. As space agencies across the world consider more crewed missions to the moon, researchers are delving into some of the hazards those missions might face. And lunar dust is much more of a factor than you might think. It's quite sharp and abrasive, like tiny shards of glass. Because there's no wind on the moon, lunar soil particles never erode. Their edges stay sharp and pointy, and they can tear up spacesuits or clog equipment and keep it from functioning properly. And if you breathe that stuff in, not good. Like when astronauts come back in from stomping around on the moon's surface, their suits are covered in this stuff, and they have to take their helmets off to get out of the suit. So what kind of risk does exposure pose? To find out, a team at Stony Brook University took 2 iron-based compounds that we know are found on the moon and soaked them in a solution designed to mimic human lung fluid. After about 15 minutes, the mixture had produced rather stunning amounts of hydroxyl radicals, a kind of reactive compound that can do a lot of damage to biological tissue on the cellular level. And these particles aren't exactly easy to breathe out. They can stay in your lungs for quite a long time, potentially causing even more damage than the team measured within the 15-minute window. And plus, they're sharp. If they can tear up spacesuits, imagine what they can do to your lungs. These hydroxyl radicals in particular have been linked to lung damage and lung cancer, so the team has concluded that this dust could be extremely dangerous and may have long-term health implications. We also think that silicon dioxide may be a large part of the moon's surface dust makeup, and we know silicon dioxide is a highly toxic, lung disease-causing compound as well. So this research couldn't come at a better time, because in 2019, NASA announced Artemis, its mission to send humans back to the moon by 2024. We're looking at a very real need to figure out what the heck to do about moon dust. There's lots of innovation happening already with NASA's redesigned spacesuits, which allow for increased mobility and improved insulation, but they've also already taken into account the dust problem. No zippers, no cables, fewer creases, and a special sealant for the main components. These updates are definitely an improvement, but it's likely that even more thought is going to need to be put into how to handle moon dust, whether it's in the form of suit and equipment modifications or dust mitigation processes like vacuum cleaning before suit removal. And more research still needs to be done into the compounds found on the moon and how they could affect human physiology as astronauts explore it.
As we move forward toward a return of astronauts to the moon, there's definitely a need to clean up their act when it comes to moon dust. From the Florida Space Coast, this is Dawn Meyer for About Space Today.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.